Hey everyone, welcome to my driveway. This is Watch Me Work, and I'm Logan. I decided to do something a little bit different today because we usually work in the garage, but everybody's all butthurt about the coronavirus and not being able to go outside, and it's kind of a nice day today, so I thought I'd get some sunlight and work outside. So what we're going to do today, this is not a big job, but this is a very common problem on older vehicles like mine. This is the intake hose, and if you look, you'll see, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I'm going to try to help you. It's ripped. It's got this big gap in it here, which means that air is able to get in past the filter and just come in right here instead, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this product here. Now this is something that I got from work, so you may not have access to this product. I mean, you can buy it online, but it comes from aircraft stores and it's quite expensive. I took it from work because it was expired. It'll still work for these purposes. It's just once it expires, you're not allowed to use it on aircraft. What this is called, this is a 3M aerospace sealant AC730 B1/2. It's a polysulfide sealing compound. It's made out of a rubber. It's fuel resistant, corrosion inhibiting. Basically, what you want to use is something that's rubbery and flexible, not like bathroom caulking because it's not strong enough. But you need something, and you may be able to find something similar to this, like another polysulfide sealant or another rubber-based, like not silicone based, but a rubber based sealing compound. That's what you want to use because these are made out of rubber and silicone won't stick very well. And what will happen, or what might happen, is your intake will suck the sealant through the hose and your engine will ingest sealant, which is super bad. So I'm not going to show you how to remove this because it's shit simple. It's just a couple of these worm gear clamps here. It goes from the air box, which is over here, and it goes down into the engine. Basically looks like this. So the first thing we have to do is open this up, and inside this particular product, yours will be different, most likely. This is a two-part kit. There's the main sealant, which is a light gray. There's this catalyst material, which is in here. I'm probably gonna have to get something to cut this open with. Oh no, okay, I won't have to, it's already open. And actually that's kind of concerning that it's already open, but the package was sealed, so. And you just mix the two together. So we'll get going on that. And the important thing, of course, is to mix them together fully and properly, otherwise it won't work. Or at least it works really poorly on aircraft if you don't mix them together. It might work okay on this, but the biggest thing is this is the catalyst, so if you don't mix enough of it in, it'll never properly harden, and you need it to harden. For my purposes, if it doesn't harden super hard, it's not the end of the world, but under normal circumstance, you want to make sure this stuff hardens. You want to get all of it. That's the hardest part, is making sure that you get all this stuff, because there's quite a bit in there and it sticks to the inside of the bag. This will be true for any two-part mixture that you get. So if you do find a similar product to this and it comes in two parts, that'll be the big thing, is to make sure you get as much of it out and into your mix as possible. Probably should have warmed this stuff up first. It's a little bit cold out this morning. so it's kind of stiff. Now, another thing to keep in mind, and I did this, but I didn't show you it on camera. When I took this intake hose off of the engine, I brought it into my house and I did my best to rinse it off and clean out the area where this was going to be, because these collect quite a bit of dirt and things from your engine, and if you don't clean them, your product may not stick properly, and then again you risk having your engine intake the sealant, or it just not sticking and not doing its job, and that's not any good to anybody. Oh, this stuff is awful. I hate using this stuff at work, but man, does it ever do a good job if you use it right. What it's for, in case you're wondering, is sealing aircraft body panels. So when you've got the two aluminum panels side by side, you can run a bead of this to weather seal it, and it blocks corrosion. It's great stuff. It's just kind of gross and sucks to mix. Now that's good enough. So I'm gonna do kind of a sloppy job here, because I'm not gonna, normally what you do is when you're using this or any other kind of sealant product is you kind of put it on and then you get some soapy water or you spit on your fingers or whatever and you rub it in so it's nice. I'm gonna do a bit of that, but not too much, because I don't really care how nice this looks. So what you're gonna wanna do once you have your part ready, find the part that's cracked, and in my case also it's developing some more cracks in here, in this one, and even a little bit in the next one. So I'm gonna go sort of above and beyond here, and actually look, there's another one right there. When you're doing this, I mean, you may as well get them all, right? Otherwise you're just gonna have to come back and do it again. So we'll start going on that. This will be a pretty quick repair. The longest part of this repair probably was mixing the stuff together, to be honest with you. Once I get this sealed, this will be a nice, strong, permanent seal. You've probably noticed I put a piece of cardboard over top of my engine compartment. This isn't just to make a nice workbench. It's because I don't want to get this stuff on my engine. In the case of my engine, I've got a little intercooler on top, so I don't want to get any of this on the intercooler fins, because it's a sealant and it'll prevent the air from getting in there and doing its job to cool the intake charge. And that's just defeat the purpose. Like I said, I'm not too concerned about this looking pretty. Just want to make sure that it actually seals off the areas where the leak is. And this is actually kind of convenient and nice that it came with a popsicle stick, because it slides into these grooves really easily. I think it'll do a really, a surprisingly nice job, all things considered. Considering how sloppy I'm being with it. Like I said, the key is obviously that you get the parts that are actually leaking. But if you are like me and you don't want to do this again, you can find the areas that are starting to crack and you can seal them off as well. I'll get a little bit more in that bottom rung down there. This stuff has a 6-hour cure time, The cure time on your product may differ. I suspect it will. I think some products have cure times up to 24 hours. So if you're going to do this project, if you have an issue like this, make sure that you don't have to drive your vehicle for a while. Obviously, in a situation like this, it's kind of ideal because we're all quarantined anyway. It's not half bad. Now I'll take care of the other crack here, this big one, and I'll do the rung above it as well because it's starting to crack too. And then it'll simply be a matter of bringing it inside, because I think it will take a lot longer to cure out here where it's cold. So I'll take it inside and I'll cure it in there. I'm kind of getting this crap all over my hands, which is not ideal because it's sticky and it's almost impossible to wash off. I can feel it sticking to my fingers. And as gross as it is, it's really important that you get a good seal with this stuff, because if you don't, if you don't actually fill the gap where it leaks, then it won't be able to do its job and it won't actually seal. And what might happen is if you've assumed that you fixed it, you'll get a false sense of security and think, oh, awesome, I fixed the problem already, and you'll put it all back together. And then next thing you know, you're driving down a dirt road or something, and your engine sucks in a whole bunch of dust and gravel and nonsense, and you toast your motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of do a bunch extra here over the areas that actually had the brakes. The preventive areas, I'm sure I got enough in there, but where the actual cut was, I really want to make sure that I get a seal on this, because this is actually critical. I might just kind of caulk it over smooth, almost like I'm doing a bathtub or something. Yeah, it's a kind of a messy stuff, as you can see. It sticks to everything. It's pretty disgusting. But it works, you know. It works really well, so it's hard to complain. Plus, in my case, I got it for free, so it's even harder to complain. They were going to throw it out anyway, so I figured I would take some for this project at home. So you'll see I actually went all the way around with this. This is kind of overkill because the crack was only up front, but I went all the way around this particular section. There are a couple little air bubble holes here. I'm going to make sure I cover them over. It probably won't be a problem, but since I've already gone through the hassle of kind of going all out with it, may as well seal those over. I'm trying to keep this in camera for you, but I also keep kind of taking it out and looking at it in my face. So now we've got that. That one's done. I'm just going to make extra sure that I get this cracked bit here, and then I'm going to spackle a bunch more of that crap in there. So yeah, there's almost no way to avoid this touching the ground. Looks like I had just about the right amount of this stuff for this job. This stuff comes in big old tubes as well, and I actually was fortunate enough that they were throwing out some of the big tubes as well. So I grabbed a few of those, which may come in handy for future projects, but for this one, a large tube would just be a huge waste. And not that it really matters, but this sealant is paintable. So if you do feel so inclined, and you go online from an aircraft store or one of those stores, and you buy some of this exact stuff, and you use it to seal something other than your intake, like this, it actually is paintable. So you can make it look, you can put some time in, smooth it out, and actually make it look pretty good. And then you can paint it so it matches whatever you've sealed. So if you ever, and I may do this too in the future, if you ever decide to, let's say you're making a bumper or something, like a rear bumper, I would suggest, not a front one. But if you're making a rear bumper for your vehicle, for your 4x4, and you decide, you know, this would be a really great water tank, what you can do is take some of this stuff, and you can seal off all the edges to your bumper. Like obviously you're gonna weld it anyway, but you can seal off all your edges with this material just to make sure none of the water leaks out. And you could fill your rear bumper full of water, and you could use that as an onboard water tank. I don't think this stuff would hold up to air pressure very well. Like, I don't think you could, run enough air in a tank like that to air up and down your tires, but you could certainly do it with water. And if you're doing like overland trips, something of that nature, it could be really useful to have onboard water, in such a way where it's stored that you don't need to carry water inside the vehicle in a jerry can or up on your roof or use up any of your other storage space. So that might be something to keep in mind if you're like me and you do off-roading and you're thinking about, gee, maybe I'd like to add another feature in my vehicle and like add an onboard water type feature. You could use this sealant or a similar sealant. They sell, I think they sell a polysulfide marine grade sealant, and that should work just as well. They, of course, anything aircraft certified or marine certified, the price is like 10 times higher than what the product is realistically worth. This is just a bunch of gross chemicals and rubber, and I think for a tube of this, like the big tubes online, I think I looked it up and saw the price was like $65 or something. So it's pretty ridiculous how much they charge for these things, but they do work, so I can kind of understand. Okay, so what I've done, and this will kind of turn, you can see it's kind of turning shiny and it self-smooths a little bit. My mixing wasn't perfect, but it'll be fine. Shit. There's a little air hole there. I've gone all the way around in both areas where there actually was a leak. I didn't go all the way around in the areas where I was doing a preventative type of thing. But you see, I've gone all the way around here. So that's definitely going to make a seal. There's no doubt that this will seal. And I've done the same here. I've gone all the way around. It kind of looks like shit, but it really doesn't matter. I don't want to order a new one of these hoses, and I don't even know if I could. I have no idea where I would get one.